3, 2, 1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time Forex trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free.
These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade.
Wow, I'd love to get in on this.
Technical insights that really look good to me.
Here we go. We're live.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another show. Thanks for being here with me and jumping on the call. We've got some more stuff to look at. Man, this is turning out to be a crazy Friday. We got a lot of stuff moving in the markets. And so you already know what we're here to do. We are here to check them out, talk about what's going on in the world of markets, and welcome everybody to the chat. What's up, Hypeful? And I'm going to try and pronounce your name, Non-Thapat. Is that right? I mean, if it's completely wrong, I apologize. I'm just not the best with, I wish I was like more, sometimes you meet people who like know how to say names from all around the world. They're just like very culturally like aware. That's not me, unfortunately. So I apologize. How's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for being here. Jermaine from Florida says hello. Hi, Jermaine. Welcome to the chat. How y'all doing? Morning. Hey, Nick's from Ricky. Hey, everybody. Awesome. So we are going to jump into some stuff, talk about markets that are moving today. Frank's got something he wants to talk about on the crypto side today. So watch out for his article if you guys like his crypto stuff. But before I jump into everything, I just want to give you guys an update. For those of you who are inside of the private group, I did end up getting stopped out of my dollar CAD trade for a profit there yesterday, or I guess overnight. Woke up this morning and, you know, I'd stopped out somewhere around here. So pretty happy with that as it did start to continue higher. Might look for opportunities to try and get short on the dollar CAD again at some point, but for now, closed out that trade, pretty much ended the week nicely there due to that dollar CAD trade. So very exciting stuff, and things are going well overall. So how's everybody doing? Did you guys have a good trading week or a bad trading week? Let me know. Thumbs up or thumbs down, good, bad. How was your trading week here going into Friday? I guess it's not necessarily over just yet, especially if you're a day trader and you're in and out today. Maybe you can either bring it back or improve or have a great week, whatever you're at. Let me know. Are you guys good this week? Did you do okay? We've got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to just jump into some of the stuff going on. We'll jump over to the website really quick. Head over to a1trading.com. You guys can do this anytime you want for free, and we've got some stuff to look out. So, the yen pairs were moving like crazy, by the way. Take a moment if you guys have a chance. If you head over to the website, read this little article that Frank put together about the yen. It might help you out if you're trading anything regarding the yen, because it should give you just an insight as to why everything is moving, why the yen went crazy to the downside there, and why a lot of those currency crosses like pound yen, dollar yen, euro yen were flying this week. Great week, up 15%. Geez, that's a wild week. You must be wild in 48%. Okay, what are you doing to make 48% in a week? I think your risk management might be a little bit off the charts, unless you took some just miracle trades. I mean, maybe you did. Who am I to tell you that you can't? But still, that is some wild returns. If that's seriously how much you're up, then honestly, I would say just be careful, because if you're up that much in 1 week, you could also be down tremendously as well if you're not managing your risk properly. So Prince says, I took my $50 to $5. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough. So let's take a look at the heat map here and see what's going on in terms of a bird's eye view. You can check it out here, and you can see that today the New Zealand is pulling back. We had a huge spike in the New Zealand earlier this week, and now price is giving back a little bit of those gains here on the Friday. So a lot of times we see this. We see like the week starts, it gets going, and then towards the end of the week, we see it pull back a little bit. And it sort of makes sense. You've got like traders who don't want to hold something over the weekend, and you might have people who, you know, they're taking profits, right? So what happens when, you know, if you bought back here and then you take profits over here, causes the market to go back down, right? It's like if everybody bought Dogecoin at a certain point and then everybody started selling it at the top, it causes the market to go back down. So Simple concept for the newer traders out there, but the idea there is, we had a big spike on the New Zealand earlier on in this week, and then towards the end here, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback. In fact, losing an entire almost 1% relative to the US dollar, which is actually pretty impressive movements there on the currency market. This week was actually a really big mover for a lot of currencies. Things like the yen were moving like crazy. You had the New Zealand back and forth. Really a big moving week, especially also for the pound as well, which today is sort of flat. You've got the Aussie sort of moving negative, the Swiss franc slightly negative, and the CAD pretty much flat. You've got the yen moving positive today, maybe pulling back a little bit from yesterday's sell-off on the yen. Had a lot of sell pressure on that yen yesterday. That was so red yesterday. So we will see if bears want to keep pushing that thing lower, or if the yen can catch a bounce. But also one thing to note is that the dollar is having a great Friday. The dollar is making some gains there. We'll take a look at DXY in just a moment, but the dollar is really pushing higher there, and then the euro is sort of flat as well. So there's just your overall view as to what is moving in the currency market. Again, remember that currencies, they're all sort of, they talk to each other, right? And so sometimes it's important to just see, hey, if the CAD is doing one thing, maybe the Aussie is sort of following, maybe the New Zealand is following, and you can kind of get an idea of what is moving, what is not, what is hot, what is cold, that sort of thing. So let's go, let's take a look at that DXY. So we'll pull up DXY for a moment here and talk about the US dollar bullishness that's going on. So you can see we're on the 1 hour chart, got these nice higher lows coming into this chart, and you can see lots of demand for the dollar right now, which is actually very interesting. We went into this week, I don't know if you guys remember from my my Sunday analysis, I pointed out, if you watched that video, I pointed out the fact that the dollar was in a pretty key spot, right? You're at this longer term low where you've got lots and lots of demand here and here and here. But it's one of those things. If this thing keeps knocking on the door and the trend is still down, is it just a matter of time before price can truly break to the downside and keep going lower? That is the question. So with that said, look at that. My camera is fuzzy. Let me fix that. Bam, is that better? Nice, there it is. So yeah, so with the dollar index, right? With it bouncing off the lows like this, it's not something that I'm going to rush to be like, oh, the dollar is absolutely, crazy going up here. But I will point this out. You have this nice little downtrend here on the 4 hour chart. You've got this structure where, you have sellers each time this thing rallies that are pushing it back. But where are the sellers right now? They tried, but it seems like buyers are coming in hot here on Friday to push markets past this level of resistance. What that could mean is that we could be headed up to some higher levels of resistance. In fact, the US dollar might have some short-term bullishness here at the very minimum, maybe up to a level of resistance such as these points here. So keep this in mind when you're watching the dollar pairs right now. Anything that has the dollar in it, right? You've got the Aussie dollar, the New Zealand dollar, dollar yen, dollar Swiss, euro dollar, pound dollar, all of them, right? If you're trading someone with a dollar right now, just be aware of the fact that we seem to be at a major level of support, and price for the time being seems to want to hold this area, right? So you've got, here it is. You've got the US dollar on a longer time frame. This is the daily chart, holding lows multiple times at this point. And for now, it seems like it doesn't want to stop. That could lead to bigger retracements. Does it mean that we're headed to, break new highs? Not necessarily, but it's one of those things. When you put in a nice level of support here and you find buyers, it could mean short-term bullishness, which means we could see retracements back up to points like this. So that would be my thing there on the dollar. So I wouldn't be rushing right now to sell the dollar. Although I am pretty bearish on the dollar for now, I'm just going to wait for it to probably give me a little bit more of a pullback before I look to get involved. So that's the idea. Short-term dollar bulls might see some movements on things like dollar yen. We'll take a look at dollar yen today, which is pushing higher. Look at this. Check it out. We broke through resistance very nicely here on the daily chart. Let's look at the 1 hour chart just to get an idea of what's going on. So yesterday was such a great day for yen bears, right? So people who were selling the yen, they did super well yesterday, most likely because you had something like this where you just saw massive push against the yen. You see people buying the dollar, buying the pound, but everybody does not want to buy the yen, at least as of yesterday. So that's the idea. So with all of this dollar strength and yen weakness, dollar yen is looking really appetizing for probably the trend followers. This is probably attracting the momentum traders out there. If you yourself are a momentum trader, keep an eye on this one because it looks like we could see stuff like this without too much hesitation. Whenever dollar yen gets moving like this, the yen currency, sometimes it launches into these big monstrous trends. We see that on things like pound yen, which is just a absolute monster of a trend right now. On the higher time frames and the lower time frames, that thing is just an absolute beast. So when we look at something like dollar yen here, we'll switch to the 4-hour view. This looks pretty good. Honestly, it looks pretty promising for, if you get that retest. I like the idea of looking for dollar yen bullishness, both off of that recent buy off the lows for the DXY, but also that yen weakness, which I am a fan of. You already know I've been pretty bearish on the yen for a little while here. If you've been watching my streams, I've been bearish on the yen for a few months now, actually. So until things really change, we see maybe risk off sentiment or something drastic for Japan. Maybe I'll switch around, but for now, still just selling that yen and buying other currencies, which has been going quite well. So if it changes, of course we will adapt. But for now, if it's working, I just try and stick with it. So, hi sir, take a look at gold. We will get there. Don't you worry. We'll take a look at gold. GU is falling again after going up, says Don. We'll take a look at the pound at some point for sure. Take a look at US 30. Maybe we'll take a look at US 30 later on in the stream. It's not one of my personal favorites. We have a couple different charts to look at first, but we will try and get to as many as we can. Selling dollar CAD at 1.4230. Is that where I took that last trade? I'm curious now. I took a trade yesterday. I ended up stopping out for a profit, trailed my stop. I took a trade at 1.2130. 1.4230. Hold on. Check. I think you mean 1.2230 because if you're talking, 42 is like way up here. So that's probably not what you meant. That's my guess, at least. So we got some stuff to look at. Let's look at pound dollar here. We'll take a look at GBP, USD. On the 4-hour chart, you can see this thing is still trying. It's still pushing higher overall. But again, with that recent dollar bullishness, yet again, struggling for the bulls here. This is a trade that I've been waiting on for a few weeks now. I've been watching this thing, looking for that break of 1.42, but we just have not seen it. I think that if it does break, it would be fantastic for a buy personally, right? I'd love something like this and just keep going with that trend. Things are looking overall bullish for the pound, but for now, with that dollar strength coming in, could just be a pause here into consolidation for a bit longer. But once we start to see the break, if it goes higher, I'd be interested in looking for longs. Of course, that is not me telling you what to do with your money. That's just my opinions and my analysis. Please know that I can be wrong, and anybody you see on YouTube, they're not right all the time. They're not always making money. If you see them making big amounts of money, at some points they're losing money too. So just be aware that it's not all what you see on the surface. So watching 1.42 there on the pound dollar. We talked about that a few times. Really, until that breaks and shows that there's demand, I'm not really too interested in the pound dollar for now. Again, one of the big things here is that each time price comes up there, you see sellers stepping in, right? We'll look at it on a 1-hour chart just to see it a little closer. So on the 1-hour chart, every time price comes up to 1.42, sellers just get interested. They all show up to the party and they're like, oh yeah, I'll sell that. So when we come up to it and we see that every time, that is like a pause for me. I'm like, I don't want to be buying at that point because it seems like there's some strong sellers. However, if we see stronger buyers step up to the plate, then maybe we could go for something there, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I'd like to see that level get broken. I'd like to see sellers fail there before being a buyer myself. So that's how I'm looking at this in terms of pound dollar. I guess there are possible pullback plays as well that maybe could be interesting, but for now, just because we were stuck in this range, that's the main interest for me. We'll take a look at AUD USD next, and then we'll just keep chugging along. Look at this thing selling off. I wanted to look at this one. I almost took a buy this morning. Thank goodness I didn't, because I would have had that losing trade that I'm that I'm dreading because I've been on a win streak recently, which is always nice. But had I taken that trade this morning, I might have been stopped out, or hard to say. I might have put stops just below here, but I didn't take that trade this morning. Just wasn't so interested, just because this thing has been so choppy. If it gives that, there might be an opportunity if I see it on the lower time frames to pick up some Aussie dollar on the long side today. But I'm not rushing to do it just because, again, with that US dollar right now being pretty strong, I'd like to be patient on the Aussie dollar. I took a sell. Nice. Congratulations. That's probably a good trade for you if you sold this thing. I like this thing on the longer time frames for more upside. I think that we probably hit the target that I've talked about at 0.8 at some point this year. I think by the end of the year, we should see 0.8. We'll see. As long as the US dollar remains weak overall and the Aussie remains strong, I think that would make sense to see. But again, like I said, I can be wrong. So we will see. Let's see what else we got. We'll take a look at what's the euro dollar doing today. So the euro is probably giving back big time today due to that dollar strength coming in. And so for now, is this a pullback? Is this a reversal? It's one of those things that's a little bit tough to say. And again, with that DXY, just a refresher for the people who are tuning in now, that dollar is breaking out of this little downtrend that we've got. So I'm keeping an eye on this just because, with that strength, it's not that I think that it's going to go rocketing to the moon. It's just that I'd like to probably, if I was to sell the dollar, I'd like to wait for it just to get a bit more stretch, give a little bit more premium on that sell side, and then maybe we can get involved. But that is what I am personally waiting for on the US dollar. We'll see if we can get that maybe next week. Maybe we get a little bit more spike on the US dollar. Let's get a quick look really quick also. What's going on with economics.com? What's going on with the whole world right now? Let's see. So US PCE inflation above forecasts. Core PCE prices in the US, which exclude volatility, food, and energy costs, increased 3.1% year over year in April, following an upwardly revised 1.9% gain in March and compared to market forecasts. Okay. Fed officials have been reiterating such price pressures, including fiscal supply. Okay. So I have seen this thing where it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of inflation and it might force the Fed. It might force the Fed to be like, okay, we might need to raise rates. And so that's again, but this is the other thing with the dollar. This is why I'm not super bullish just yet, is we've seen this thing happen. We've heard this story a few times now. We've heard this thing where like, oh, inflation is a concern. The look at that, my camera's messing up so much today. We've heard this thing from the Fed where it's like, inflation is a concern. We need to, what is going on with that? I'm going to fix this. This concern around inflation, right? And so with inflation, people are like, well, if inflation is high, then the Fed will raise rates. And right now, that just does not seem to be the story. That right every time inflation goes up, they sort of downplay it. They're like, well, we want to keep rates low to help the economy, so we're probably not going to raise rates. So there is this optimism around, okay, well, we've got inflation. Maybe the Fed will finally start to crack, and maybe they will. But until they do, I'm pretty bearish on the dollar. Once they start changing their narrative, maybe I can see myself picking up dollar longs. But for now, like I said, being patient on that. So we'll jump back over to Euro USD, see what's going on here. Is there any trade setups? So like I said, for now, my idea is more on the long side of Euro dollar, more on the, counter dollar trades, looking to sell the dollar and buy other things, until the Fed changes, right? Their narrative there. So, with that said, there might be some pullback plays. There might be some opportunities here on the euro dollar. I was looking at this morning as well. Like I said, I didn't take any trades this morning, but if I did, I probably would have taken some losers. So I'm glad that I didn't, because again, price is pulling back a lot more than I thought it would. I was looking at it at that 38.2, did not take that trade because otherwise you would have had all the people in the chat telling me I'm an idiot, which, sometimes I am. So it's all good. 61.8 looks pretty interesting though. You've got this level of demand here. It's a loose area of demand, but it is this zone here, which I would say includes that 61.8. There might be some opportunities if you're bullish on the euro dollar to look at it on this Friday morning here to look for possible, discounted plays. Now, I'm not rushing to do it either though, because again, that US dollar seems a little bit like it's breaking out, like it has some more strength. Let's keep moving. Raja, I have not taken a look at gold yet, but we will get there. Don't you worry. We'll get to that. We'll get to that gold market there. So we'll keep moving along. What's New Zealand dollar doing? So we looked at the Aussie dollar. The New Zealand dollar is interesting though, because earlier this week we had incredible bullishness come in on that New Zealand. You had people just, selling their mom's house to go buy the New Zealand dollar because there was like good news about the New Zealand bank saying like, hey, we see rates being raised in September of 2022, which is fairly soon, right? Compared to some of the other banks around the world. So when you get that positive sentiment, like, hey, we're raising rates, it attracts a lot of investors and traders to be like, okay, the New Zealand is a buy. And I do think that it is a buy. But seeing how price rejected this level right now has me not interested in the New Zealand dollar, but maybe there's some other currency crosses that could be good. Maybe we could see things on New Zealand Swiss or New Zealand yen. Maybe there's some other trade setups that we could look at. So I am bullish on the New Zealand currency itself, but against the dollar right now, I'm a little bit skeptical, although there is a nice little pullback here. Maybe if we get that bigger discount, I'd love to retest this area again with that positive sentiment around the New Zealand Central Bank talking about raising rates. I'd be interested. I'd be very interested if price pulled back. In fact, interested enough. Am I logged into my account? Yes, I am. We will go ahead and add an alert. So if price comes down to the bottom of this range, it's not like a guarantee that I'm going to buy it, but it is something of interest. So if price does shoot down there further on the New Zealand dollar, I'm going to set an alert so that I can just be notified that we have some interest there on the New Zealand dollar. Okay, save that and we will go from there. Okay, so keeping that on my radar, New Zealand dollar. What about other currency pairs though? New Zealand Swiss, anything here? Don't love the price action there. Not a big fan there personally. New Zealand yen, anything here? Ooh, New Zealand yen might be interesting. Let's look at this. Okay, yeah. I like this actually a lot. New Zealand yen also may set us a little alert here. Like to see that. New Zealand yen on the radar for me as well for a potential buy. Again, if I take any of these trades, if I actually, because I'll set an alert and then I'll wait. If it comes down to that level, I'll reevaluate, look at the most current data that I can, and then make a decision if I actually want to take a trade or not. If I end up taking a trade, I share it inside of our private group. It looks like this. I'll pull it up on the screen. This is kind of what it looks like. I share all of my trades here with full breakdowns. I actually should update our friends here on that. I stopped out for a profit on USD CAD this morning. Congrats to those who also caught the sell trade. Okay, yeah, so I just had to update that because I forgot to do it this morning. But yeah, I was stopped out this morning. I trailed my stop down further, and then you could see. So I basically, I have a video coming on that, so you guys will see that soon. But I sold up in that resistance point that we talked about on yesterday's stream. Took about 2.8 lots there to the sell side. Price rallied to the low side. Ended up taking. You can see it's hard to see here, but it was like up over $1,200 at one point. Ended up taking only $800, which is still good. Very happy with that. And again, helped me close out the week pretty profitably. So can't complain by any means. But again, if you're interested in seeing the trades that I take in real time inside of our private Discord, there's a link down below to that Discord in the description. It's like the first link that is down there to sign up if you want to join our private group. So again, I'll keep an eye on New Zealand yen. If it comes into play, maybe I'll look at this. Let me see if there's a fib that lines up, because that would just be extra little bonus pieces. Ooh, that 38.2 looks so clean. I like this. This is actually probably one of my top watch list currency pairs right now. I love the New Zealand long. I love the yen short, and off this pullback could be some great opportunities. So I will be watching. New Zealand yen. Keep an eye on that one. Inside of the private group. If I take any trades, like I said, I will share it there. With that said, we'll keep chugging along here. I think it's time to take a look at gold. We'll pull it up for the our friends in the chat who like gold. Hashtag gold gang in the chat. If you're a fan of gold, let us know. People love their gold. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to take a look at this currency, or not currency pair, this commodity, and see what's going on with it. It actually looked like, actually, if you caught this buy this morning, holy goodness, this thing rallied. Look at this 15-minute chart. Price this morning gave the shallowest dip before just absolutely finding buyers. This is the nature of gold. Someone said yesterday that gold is funny because it when it dips, the dips when it's really strong, right? When you have a bullish market for gold and it dips, buyers are like lined up with their money ready. And it's so true, because sometimes you just get something like this where the dip comes in hot and then the buy comes in harder, right? Same thing. This happens a lot of times in cryptocurrencies as well. When it's bull city going on and you've got people who want to just buy crypto at any dip, the dips just get bought. And right now it seems like every dip on gold is getting bought. So congrats to anybody who is long on gold. If you're trading on the lower time frames, maybe you caught that move. But again, price came down to support. I had this drawn this morning, and then for some reason I deleted it. But this level here, you can see it wicked through it, but it did still ultimately hold it. So congrats to any of the traders out there who maybe caught some of that move. Beautiful little 1 hour candle. Check this out. So this is 1 hour of price action. Price came down and poked through that level, did one of these, and shot right back up. That's a sign of a lot of demand here towards the end of the week, which is also really interesting because, again, that's on a day where the dollar is strong. And this is what I mean, you guys, by the US dollar and gold can both be strong on the same day. Sometimes people are like, well, I'm buying gold because I don't like the dollar. And there is some inverse correlation to some degree, like the gold market goes up, the dollar goes down, but sometimes they can both go up. So for example, we'll go back to DXY here. Look at this. So this is just the dollar. The dollar's still going up. So we have the dollar going up and we have gold going up. So it is possible for both of these to go up at the same time. Don't get it twisted. It's not all the time. And most of the time, I feel like it's more, or not even I feel like, I know that it is mostly the one goes up and the other is not as strong. In fact, let's play with it. I'm curious now. We will take a look at correlation. So let's correlate the gold market to the US dollar index for a moment. And let's see what we get here on the charts. So we'll look at it from a daily view and we'll see if there's any strong correlation recently. Okay, so pulling it up, daily chart, check this out. So yes, to some degree, there is most of the time strong inverse correlation, meaning that when one goes up, the other goes down. When one goes down, the other goes up, right? So what this would mean is that during this time, the US dollar seems to be going down relative to a strengthening gold market, and vice versa. During this time, the dollar was strong and the gold market was weak. So there is some level of correlation, but it is not perfect, and correlation can come out of sync at points. So you can see here, for an example, here's a time where they both moved in tandem. One went up, the other went up. One went down, the other went down, right? So we do get windows of time. Here's another example. Back in 2020, we had periods of time where they were both moving similarly. All this thing at the bottom, the correlation coefficient on TradingView, is basically telling us, okay, this is they're either moving together or moving apart. And most of the time, it seems like they're moving apart. One goes up, the other goes down. But just a loose idea there for you to think about. Recently, they have been quite inversely correlated, meaning that gold rising has been a fight against the dollar, which really would make sense with all this inflation concern. You get people buying gold and selling the dollar because they're like, okay, inflation is a concern, right? I'd rather put my money in gold where it actually holds value. You got to think, a lot of people buy gold not as a trade, not as a short-term thing. They buy it as an investment. They say, okay, there's some serious concerns around inflation for the next year, 3 years, 5 years, and they buy gold to sort of try and hedge that bet. So they're saying, well, the market, the dollar might lose value, but if that happens, gold market could do well, and my money could be safe in something that is a tangible asset that will actually appreciate in value rather than the US dollar, which will devalue. Here's a little sad reality for a lot of people out there who have their money sitting in the bank right now. If you have money sitting in the bank, it is essentially losing value every single day over time. There might be days where the dollar is really up and technically like your bank account would like be a little bit better. But the idea is over time, the US dollar goes down, and that is by design, right? The Fed purposely devalues the US dollar, and there's a purpose to that. If there's a devaluing currency, it encourages people to go put their money out in the economy, to go invest in businesses, go start businesses, go buy things, buy real estate, buy houses, right? That is by design by the Fed and by many central banks around the world to stimulate economies. The Feds do not want everybody to just stick their money in a bank account and leave it there forever, because that doesn't do much for the entire economy. It does, cool, you got your money stuffed under a mattress, but if that's not helping the rest of the economy, it's sort of hurting it, right? So money sitting is not good. In fact, I'll give you another example. In places like Japan and Switzerland, they have negative interest rates. The reason they have negative interest rates is because cash is held so tightly that people like stuff money away and they don't spend it, that it is a serious problem for their economy, because when all that money is just sitting and it's not moving very much, it's not healthy for the overall, economy. So what they've actually done is they've made their interest rates negative, meaning that not only, does your value hopefully go down in time, it also is literally by design. You stick your money in a Swiss bank over a year, you lose 0.75% on that money. That's the idea, right? So they're saying, get your money out of the banks, go put it in the world, go put it in the economy so that we can stimulate things and get things going. That is by design. So that is why they're struggling to ever raise that rate, because they're like, we need to encourage people and keep people motivated to not stick their money in the bank for a long time. So yeah. And then there's also the concept of interest rates. Well, now the Fed is being pressured to actually raise rates because inflation is really high, right? People are spending a lot of money, and the value of currency is going down due to a lot of stimulus being printed and bonds being bought and all that stuff, right? So there is also the opposite extreme where they're like, okay, raise rates, encourage people less we don't want to go too fast, because if you go too fast, it can result in a meltdown or hyperinflation and problems like that. So there is problems on both sides. The ideal situation by the Fed is to go for 2% interest inflation rate over the year. That is like their primary, that's a steady rate for them. Too high, 4%, 5%, you're talking about, oh, we need to raise rates. Under that by a dramatic amount, we need to cut rates, right? So that, that's the idea, to stimulate the economy. Okay, Ivan, how you doing, man? Thanks for showing up. Happy to have you in the stream chat. Gold hit a 200 SMA on the hourly before bouncing up. It might test recent highs at 1912. This is possibly for next week as well. Yeah, good points there. We'll take a look at that on the hourly chart. Sorry for my rant about interest rates. Just an interesting topic to me. Look at that, you guys. Frank is right. The 200 SMA literally just coming in again and showing its teeth. You can see gold bounced right on down to that level and found lots of buy pressure. It's amazing how often, if you just pull up a simple 200 moving average, how often this thing does it. Look at this. The last time we tagged it, did the exact same thing. Price came down, pulled back to the 200 SMA, found support, hovered around it last time we were over here for finding demand. It's not magical, but sometimes it can look pretty magical. Sometimes it can do some pretty cool stuff. It's a great, in my opinion, it's like my favorite moving average. It's slow, and it really, shows a healthy trend. Like when you're in a not healthy trend, like let's see if we can find one that's like not so interesting. Maybe like around here, you can see it's kind of like sideways and doesn't really move a whole lot. That's like not as interesting for the trend traders out there. But then once things start to get going, it starts really lining up, and it just does one of these where it's like across the screen looking good. I love being a buyer in that sort of market because it's like, this thing is strong, right? Again, here it is again. You just get this market environment where it's just strong, strong, strong. Look at that gold market, man. We are back up to 1900, 1912, of course, Frank mentioning at that previous high. So keep an eye on that. You know, if it does pop up to that point, that, of course, is the high of the week. So for the gold traders out there watching this, keep an eye on that 1912 mark. This is dope information. Thank you so much, Nick. You're very welcome. Hey, if you guys are enjoying the content, you already know, drop a like on the stream and subscribe if you're new. Got some more content for you. Our goal here at A1 Trading, it is not just me. We got a team of people here behind the scenes making all of this possible. Our goal is to put out as much free and helpful content. Don't go buy a $1,000 course. You don't need to. We're going to be putting out tons of content for you. And all we ask in return is to leave those thumbs up down below and subscribe to our channels on YouTube. Yes, there are two of them. There's my channel, Trader Nick, and then there's also our team channel where we put lots of great people on there. Ivan is one of them. We've got a whole list of people that are coming on and sharing value for free for the trading community, and that is our mission. So if you want to support us, subscribe to this channel and subscribe to our second channel for more great stuff, more free stuff around the clock. Our goal is to go at some point, fingers crossed, someday we'll be doing like 8-hour-a-day content, like live streams and stuff. So when Frank speaks, the world will shake in the future. Yes, it is true. Frank is, for some reason, just the gold wizard recently. But yeah, subscribe to our both channels. There's also a link to that second channel in the description. We've got another show coming on in 20 minutes or so with Emmanuel. He was with us last week and people really liked him. So we're bringing him back on to do some more exotic currency pairs and just more crosses that you might not see me do. So do come on live every day. Yes, I do at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the show continues on our second channel, A1 Trading on YouTube. So don't miss out on the rest of the shows. We are here wherever you are in the world. Maybe your time frame, this is not the best time for you to watch, or if you're watching back at a later point, you can always watch live with us, hopefully on the secondary channel. So make sure to check it out. Thanks for the love. Thank you very much for the love, guys. Let's keep moving. We'll take a look at some more currency pairs and see what else we've got to talk about. What about some more yen pairs? What about euro yen? What's euro yen doing? Some of you guys might have seen my trade video on euro yen where I bought the euro yen right around here, sold it right around here, and then watched it run away for a massive profit that I did not enjoy. So that sometimes happens and it's a little bit frustrating, but yeah, the euro yen still just being a monster. I have an interest in this thing. If it does want to pull back, might be some support here that could be of interest. So I might be interested in jumping back into that trade at a point. This and New Zealand yen are two of my favorite ones to be looking at right now personally. So I like that idea a lot. Yeah, so keep an eye on euro yen. Nick, will you enter euro yen again? I'm thinking about it, right? I'm looking at it. I'm keeping an eye on euro yen. I would like to potentially be a part of this thing if it does give me a good setup. But I've got a couple things on my radar, and I don't like to take too many trades at once. So if it sets up and it is my top priority trade, then I very well could see myself jumping back into euro yen. If you are not already in the private group, that is where I share all of my trades. So if I take a trade, I share it with members inside of there with full breakdowns, fundamental technical analysis. I treat it as my journal. So if you guys are in there and you see that, that is literally like my trading journal. You can go through all my trades and make fun of me when I lose and all that stuff. A link to the second channel can be found just in the description. It's the second link. So just click the description right there at the top. You'll see a link to our second channel where we're putting on way more content over there as well. So Nick, are you still in Aussie yen? Nope, I'm not. I took profit on that one already. Thank you very much, Alicia. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so euro yen, I'd like that pullback. I'd like that setup if I can get it. But I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to force a trade, even though, you know, I want to be a part of this. Look at those green candles. I mean, those are beautiful, beautiful green candles. So I missed this part. I caught this one, so I can't complain too much. I got part of the move, just didn't catch the full thing. What about pound yen? GBP, JPY. This one was moving like crazy. Look at this thing, man. I mean, this was up yesterday. Yesterday, you guys, this was up like 1%, which is a big move in currencies, like 1.4%. You know, if you're someone in the UK and you do business in Japan, right? that change of currency exchange, like if you're exchanging millions and millions of dollars every day or every week or whatever, in the exchange rate changes by 1.4%, and you're holding on to pounds, you're probably pretty happy, right? You're like, oh, my pound is going to go a lot further, which is awesome. And if you're, so that is just an interesting way to view it. But Euro USD went crazy. Yeah, Euro dollar moving like insane right now. Love the transparency. Well, thank you. It's easier to just tell it how it is. What is your private channel? All of that can be found, Danielle, in the description down below. There's a link and a promo code if you want to join us inside of the Discord. What's current on your radar? Like I said, New Zealand yen, Euro yen, a couple things like that. Nick, I got a question. Can you call a person a trader if all he does is copy trade? No, because I'm not a big fan of copy trading. I'm actually not a fan at all. I think that if you're just copying trades, you might as well just long-term invest. Like, if you're copying trades, here's the thing. I've talked about this a few times. If you're copying someone else, like, honestly, you might as well just buy index funds and hold for the long term. If you don't want to put any work in, I understand that. Like, people got lives, they're busy with things, but like, don't try and trade. Like, trading is like the hardest way to make money in financial markets, but it can be the most rewarding. So don't trade if you don't want to put in the work. Now, if you're copying other people, if you're just blindly copying other people's trades, what happens is that if the trader that you are copying is having a good week or month, a lot of times people who are copying are like, oh, they're doing really good. Now it's time to make some real money copying them. Let me just pile on a huge position. And then what happens? They take a big loss, and then they're frustrated, and they're like, oh man, this guy sucks. It's all his fault. And they walk away. Putting blame on someone else in trading is just absolute, just like the death of your trading journey. Like, if you're going to put blame on other things in your trading journey, you will never be profitable. You have to start taking complete ownership of what you are doing if you're going to make any money in markets, because the market's not out to get you. The market's not is some monster that's just trying to steal your money. The market doesn't care about you. Let's just be real. The market really doesn't care. Like, our money is so small in the grand scheme of the money of the market. You have to just start taking 100% ownership of every trade you do. And if you're copying people and it goes poorly, you quit very quickly. And if it goes right, you pile on money. The thing is, drawdown and losing streaks are inevitable as a trader. And so that's not, that's not exempt to people who are like offering a copy service. So if you're just copying, that person that you're copying is going to have a losing streak. It might last 1 month. It might last 2 months. And then you not knowing why you're copying them or what their strategy is at all, you'll just be like, they suck. And then you'll quit. But then you might miss the very next month where they have a fantastic month and they triple what they lost, right? So that is the whole point of copying, is like, you don't understand what's going on. I'm a believer that if you're going to be putting money in markets, like actively, you have to know, it's like understanding why the engine under the hood works. You have to understand why. Now, to like passively invest, you don't really need to. You can just sort of like put money to the side and just ride in the car. And like, you won't make, like, you have the potential to do well over time. You probably won't make like huge gains short term, but that is the trade-off. If you're not willing to put in the effort, you should not just copy. You should just, my opinion, I would just long-term invest, because if you're not willing to put in the work with this stuff, copying sounds so easy, but again, it sounds easy, but it's not, because you're like, you don't understand why things are working or not working or what. Okay, so we already looked at gold. You can scroll back on the stream and watch gold if you want. Please don't spam the chat though. Let's see what else we got. We look at pound yen, which is just dramatically up. Maybe a pullback could be interesting, but for now, where prices are, I'm not rushing to buy this thing anytime soon. Silver, sure, why not? XAG USD. So silver is pretty flat. Silver back and forth right now. Not as interesting right now as gold, I will say. In fact, that's interesting that gold has been on the run and silver has sort of been flat for a while. We are still above the 200 moving average. This is the 4-hour chart. You've got price at 27.75 just about. So I think that this thing is probably bullish in sympathy with gold, right? They'd probably move together to some degree. They're probably pretty correlated. But for now, it just seems like silver is in a range similar to like the Aussie dollar. If you get something like this, if you get a breakout, maybe there's some nice momentum trades on silver. Something like this could be interesting. Let's see if I can get this thing set up here, change it to pink. So something like this could be interesting on silver. If we get that break, retest, something like that, that could be of interest on the silver market. Maybe we could retest those highs at 28.5 roughly. But seems like the natural flow, the path of least resistance seems to be up for now until further notice. Copying is also dangerous because you're never in full control. Yeah, it's true. Can you do Bitcoin? Hi, Destiny from Facebook. Yes, we can take a quick look at Bitcoin. Also, because you're on Facebook, which is awesome. Thank you for following and supporting us on Facebook. We got a much smaller audience on Facebook, but we're trying to grow on a couple different platforms. So thanks for watching. Okay, so we will take a look here at Bitcoin. So this is the downtrend that we're sort of struggling with for the crypto bulls out there. Frank has an article coming out around on Bitcoin. If you are not following his articles on the site, head over to a1trading.com. You can find all of his recent articles and what he's posting. He's an analyst for us at A1 Trading, and he does some great work. So keep an eye on that. With Bitcoin sort of bottoming out here, question will be, can we get this? Because if we got something like this, this could be very interesting because that could be what you call a inverted head and shoulders. Kind of depends how you define it, but you could say, something like this. If this holds, you get something like that, that could be some upside there for Bitcoin. But another key level, big psychological level, is 30,000, which we have been holding. So for the Bitcoin traders and investors out there, Bitcoin seems to be holding 30,000 well. If that breaks, probably a flush down to 20,000 is my opinion. But for now, it does not seem like it wants to break. Right now, it seems like price is trying to put in a higher low. So if we can see a higher low on the day and we get a break of this structure, we could see a rally back up to like 46, 48, something in there, and maybe even a push to 50. So I'm bullish on crypto right now. I think that it has upside after this pullback. Again, very, very steep sell-off. From the top there, you were at one point down. What is that? 54%. So it's pretty steep haircut there. So we will keep going along, see if there's anything else we want to take a look at. We looked at a whole bunch of stuff today. Any other pound pairs? What about pound Swiss? Anything on pound Swiss? Pound Swiss trying to break out. I bet CAD Swiss looks also interesting. CAD Swiss, pound Swiss. I'd love to get long on CAD Swiss again. You guys already might have seen those trades that I took on the channel. CAD Swiss, if we can break that previous high, I will be very interested in that. That would be very, very much a point of interest for me, just because we topped out. We sort of found resistance, and that kind of made me shy away from CAD Swiss just for now, just because I'd like to see that thing hold and break through resistance. I was long on this thing a couple different times in this mix. Some great trades there, but since then have sort of just been on the sidelines for CAD Swiss. So if it comes back into play, very well could see myself being interested. But for now, just pausing. Guys, I do want to remind you, if you enjoy the streams, make sure to like them down below and also subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of you guys who watch this, you're in and out, but if you want more of these shows, we do these regularly. So you can come back and hang out with us and get free analysis. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you click that subscribe button. I saw it in the analytics that like half of the people that watch me are not subscribed. If you would subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. It's free to do. It helps grow the channel and gets our message out there about realistic, down-to-earth trading, not all that hype and glory that you see all over the internet. So if you're tired of that too, then subscribe to the channel and let's do some cool stuff. Let's do some real trading here on the channel. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. Make sure if you enjoyed, like I said, subscribe, turn post notifications on. But if you're not following our second channel, we got a second channel where we're about to go live again with another guest. So if you just tuned in, you want more live stuff, I'm stepping off, but we got another host showing up to the party in just about 10 minutes. You can find information on the second channel down below in the description, or you can search up A1 Trading on YouTube. I just put it in the chat. A1 Trading on YouTube. check it out. Follow us there. Subscribe to our second channel on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and you can watch our upcoming stream. We're going to be taking a look at some exotic currency pairs. So some cool stuff there for you. With that said, guys, I'm going to hop off and I'm going to hand over the show to Emmanuel, who is our next host. And I will see you guys back next week. Have a great rest of your week and have a nice weekend.